Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. The managers of the Kumasi shoe factory have today fought off claims by Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwu that they are to blame for the current deplorable state of the factory. Expected to employ 2,000 workers after its revival in 2012, only 49 persons man the factory, currently with a low demand for their products despite producing boots for purchase by the armed forces and other security agencies, and footwear for students locally as well as for export. The Defense Minister last week blamed the managers for the situation. In a sharp rebuttal, Acting General Manager Ni Konilai says continuous importation of footwear from abroad by the security agencies is rather to blame for the situation.
The Honorable Minister is reported to have said that the Dihok Footwear Division Limited trained over 200 workers, but because of irregular orders, only 1/3 of them are currently working. This is very true, but we want to respectfully ask the Honorable Minister why this particular challenge should be attributed to the management of Dihok Footwear Division Limited, as stated by CTFM in a news article on their website. The company was incorporated and tasked with the sole mandate to produce security boots and shoes for purchase by the armed forces and other security agencies. The company is also to produce school sandals, that's Achimota sandals, and school shoes for public and private schools in Ghana. It is a fact that all the government security agencies, including the Ghana Police, the Ghana National Service, Fire Service, the Prison Service, Immigration Service, and even Ghana Armed Forces still order their boots and shoes from China and India. At the commencement, the company's projection was to increase its workforce from 200 to 800 within 3 years. However, the security agencies, who constitute our primary market, have refused to buy our boots and shoes and continue to import them from India and China. Again, no definite government policy has been outlined. Directly, the security services and public schools to wear made in Ghana shoes, boots, shoes, and sandals. It is therefore unfair that the management of the company will be blamed for having reduced the workforce from 200 to 49. As a key stakeholder representing the nation's interest in the company, we expect the Honorable Minister to address these challenges being faced by the company, and not to lament about these already known challenges. We therefore want to use this platform to humbly request the Honorable Minister Dominic Nitiwu, MP and Minister of Defense, to assist the company by directing the Ghana Armed Forces to order all their boots and shoes from the company, and to appeal to his colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of Interior, Finance and Education, to give similar directives to the other security agencies and educational institutions in the country to stop the importation of boots and shoes from China, India, and to buy from the company as a way of assisting the company. This, in our view, is the solution to restore and even increase the workforce of the company in order to create more jobs for the youth of Ghana within the shortest possible time. The company can easily create an additional 600 jobs within the next 2 to 3 years through such an initiative alone.
Well, another concern raised by the minister was the failure of the managers of the factory to render accounts. General Manager Nikoni again insists that they have done that and are yet to hear from the minister.
The Honorable Minister is reported to have said that the Ghana Armed Forces, who are also shareholders in the business, have been sidelined, with no account rendered to them by the private managers of the facility. With great sadness, this statement is untrue, and we would wish to set the record straight. Ladies and gentlemen, immediately after the swearing in into office of the Honorable Minister of Defense, a meeting of the company board was held at Bema Camp, with the company's management in attendance. The agenda of the meeting was to discuss all the issues confronting the company and to forward same to the Honorable Minister and the Chief of Staff then, since both of them had just assumed office and were not yet briefed about the activities and challenges of the company. It was resolved at the said board meeting, which was also the last meeting of the board in 2017, that the board chairman, Dr. Kalai, and Brigadier General Nicholas Andor, the Director General of the Defense Industry Department at Bema Camp, and board member should arrange to meet the newly sworn-in Defense Minister to hand over a dossier of all the company's challenges and the proposed solutions to those challenges. An appointment was made through the Chief Director of the Ministry of Defense to meet at the Honorable Minister, to meet him at 1 p.m. However, the Honorable Minister was held up at the Plaster House, and we patiently waited till 8 p.m. to meet him. We met him for 15 minutes, sorry to present of the content of the dossier, and handed some together with copies of the minutes of the last board meeting to the Honorable Minister as per the board meeting resolution. We subsequently, through the Defense Industries Department, handed over the same dossier to the CDS. As we hold this press conference today, the 11th of December 2017, we are sad to announce that we have not even received an acknowledgement letter from the Honorable Minister. On the dossier, we personally waited over 6 hours in his office to hand over to him.
Ni Cornelaye is General Manager of DEOC there. Now, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, says the next district assemblies and national elections will be negatively affected if the Electoral Commission does not put in place a program of action before the Chief Justice Committee starts probing impeachment petitions against it. The 5-member committee, to be chaired by a Supreme Court judge, will use the maiden meeting expected today to explain the procedures as well as the terms of reference to the petitioners and the respondent. Already, national organizer of the NDC, Kofi Adams, believes the EC has been unable to implement its reforms because of the current stalemates there. JoyNews understands the EC chair, her 2 deputies, and the Commission's lawyer, Thaddeus Sori, have been spotted at the Supreme Court building where the hearing is expected to take place. Details of that shortly. But first, here's Maxwell Agbagba with a report on the mood at the EC headquarters.
Usual hustle and bustle here at the Electoral Commission is conspicuously missing here. That is expected many months after the elections. We were on the premises of the Electoral Commission to find out from some of the workers there how they are going about their duties on the first day that the Electoral Commissioner, together with her 2 deputies, Mr. Madusile and Madam Georgina Mankwa, are expected to appear before the Chief Justice here on the compound. I've been interacting with some of the workers here. A lot of them are tight-lipped on the issue. They say they don't want to speak to the issue for fear of being victimized. A woman that I spoke to here tells me that even though the petition, we are told, came from the Electoral Commission and was from some concerned workers of the Electoral Commission, she's yet to see the real faces are behind the petition. She says usually the matter would come up in their office. A security man that I spoke to here on this compound tells me that Madam Salatosai herself is not in the office today. And that was confirmed by another worker that I had interaction with. He tells me that he has a source on the premises of the Supreme Court, and that source has communicated to him that he has seen the Electoral Commissioner herself, Madam Salatosai, together with her lawyer in the presence of the Electoral Commission earlier today. That was sometime around 12 o'clock p.m. That source actually mentioned to one of the workers here that Madam Solatosai came to the Supreme Court together with one of their deputies, that is Mr. Amadou Sule. We are also told that the other deputy, Madam Georgina Mankwa, has also been seen at the premises of the Supreme Court, and this has been confirmed by one of the workers here who says his source at the Supreme Court has confirmed that to him. If you come here to the Electoral Commission, work is going on normal at the Human Resource Department. I went there at the General Services Department also. We were there to check for ourselves. Work is going on normal in all the two blocks 7 as offices for the Electoral Commission. Work is going on as normal with, with just a little activity on the compound itself. A lot of the people are in their offices. Some of them are also going for their lunch at the time that we arrived here. A lot of them will not speak to us for fear of being victimized. They don't want to speak to us on camera. Even when we told them that we just want to gather some information from them, they were not willing to speak to us for fear of being victimized.
So that is Maxwell Agbagba, live from the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. We can now hear from Kofi Adams.
EC announced the results as and when they receive it. When they indicated that their system was in a way compromised and they were not getting the results again, they came and announced it, and that they would have to do some auditing of their system to make sure that what they are getting is correct, what they are getting is genuine, that is what is emanating from their centers that they have created. I don't think that this is suggestion of any pressure on anybody. It's part of negative news that sometimes people put during such times to make their case. Nobody, I'm not aware as campaign coordinator for the 2016 campaign for the then ruling party, that any pressure was brought to bear on anybody on EC, even if we had any such chance to do so on any one of them, not to declare results if they ever had their results to do so.
And there were reports also, unconfirmed though, that, you know, there were members of the NDC, leading members, national executives actually, who tried to, you know, prevent former President John Dramani Mahama from conceding defeat. How true is that?
Not that they tried to prevent former President Mahama from conceding defeat, but there were clear indications of violations of our electoral process and even the results as was put together based on discussions that we've had at IPAC. And we thought that there was opportunity to look into many of such results again, where we had overvotings and then the rest, that we thought we needed to look into it. That was the view of a number of us who were at the headquarters coalition point. But the leadership thought otherwise. There was, I'm not aware that there was any pressure that don't do it or go and do it. It was a collective decision of leadership who made that, looking at the situation for the sake of this country, and that it is not because of a desire to be president that will plunge a country into some chaotic situation. So why? It's 4 years. Let's concede. The truth will come out later. Ghanaians will have the opportunity to judge. And if after that, God leaves and God gives us another day, the same Ghanaians will have the opportunity to judge. And I believe that we are judges today. You go to many of the places, the market women, ordinary people who can't even do anything are telling us that their situation today have been made worse than it was. Sometimes even 4 or 5 times worse than it was.
Kofi Adams there speaking on Pulse last week. Now, let's move on now. This week on Let's Be Fair, the Lambusi district in the Upper West region has recorded 84 severely malnourished children from January 2017 to November 2017. The situation is so dire that sometimes 11-month-old babies weigh as low as 3.9 kilograms. District nutrition officers say the situation is due to inadequate food. Jojo Kobna shares a story of Agnes, who eats once a day because of inadequate food and cannot produce enough breast milk for her son.
35-year-old Agnes is a peasant farmer. Her farm did not do well this year, so she helps other farmers who had a great year to harvest rice so they can support her with food. Her husband died 5 years ago, leaving her with the burden of taking care of her 5 children. She tells me life is a real squeeze and sometimes unbearable because she cannot feed her children properly. Is life hard for you?
Life is beyond hard. Sometimes I get very angry at life.
Now Agnes has 2 more children and has the responsibility of feeding 7 hungry mouths. I inquired why she had 2 more children when she could not take care of the 5 children. She dropped her eyes and did not answer my question. Rather, she laughed and told me she cannot disclose that sensitive information to a total stranger. But community health workers explained that when her husband died, she was inherited by the brother-in-law.
According to the tradition here, after the husband has passed away, another man from the family married her as second wife. But currently, as I'm speaking, according to her, the man is at Munahafo region doing farming activities with the other wife. And she's here with 7 children. Feeding has become difficult. So she's not able to get food to eat. And because of that, there's not enough breast milk for the mother to feed the baby. And currently, the baby has become malnourished.
Culturally, her brother-in-law is supposed to give her security and also provide for her children. But he only succeeded in giving her 2 more children she cannot afford to feed. Her 11-month-old baby is severely malnourished, and health workers feel if he does not improve soon, he may be a statistic of under 5 mortality.
So this is not just due to maybe energy and protein, but also micronutrient deficiency as well. So within the red zone, that means the child is malnourished. The yellow zone means that the mother have to be careful to make sure that she feeds the child well, so that the child does not progress to malnutrition. And the green is normal. So we want to take the MWAC, the measurement, that is the upper arm circumference of the child, okay, mid circumference of the child. Okay. So the child is within the red zone, that is 9. It's 9 centimeters. The borderline is 11.5. So he has gone far below the 11.5 to 9 centimeters. So this child is a typical malnourished case in the district. At the 10th month, which is October, of the child, so the child weight was supposed to be between 8 to 11 kg, but the child is still lagging behind, as low as 3.9 kg. So this means that the child is severely wasted or severely underweight.
Health workers have referred her to Drapa District Hospital. That journey is expected to last an hour, but she cannot go because she cannot afford the cost of treatment.
We pleaded with her to go to Drapa Hospital to receive inpatient care. If she leaves to Drapa, the other siblings that are at the house, there will not be anybody that will be taking care of them. And at the end, maybe probably she will come back and they will also be sick. So that's why she prefers staying with the other siblings and then the one that is malnourished. And then she's catering for all of them at the house.
Throughout the interview, Agnes laughs and giggles, so I inquired how come she smiles through such difficult times.
You think I'm happy, but I am worried. I'm tired of being depressed. I don't have time to be worried. Now I think about how to survive. I eat once a day, but I try to feed my children twice a day. My tears are finished.
Agnes has braced herself for months. Based on advice of nutrition officers, she has stocked beans for protein.
So in here, beans. Agnes has preserved the beans with ash so that insects cannot eat them.
So I picked the corn from this bag. This bag contains maize that she has to rely on between now and December. What she eats after December is uncertain. And so that is the reason why she's worried. She goes back to the farm to work, where she will be repaid with some food after the harvest. It is lunchtime, and Agnes and her family's first meal of the day. Food security in this part of the country is a real challenge. Many families here carefully budget the food they have. When they have low harvest, many children would have to brace up for harsh times.
One day, there was no food. We just had to drink water. It was not a nice experience. During lean season, my children lose weight, but for now, we are okay.
Poor yield means hunger. Michael's daughter became malnourished and lost weight.
We want to find out whether the child is severely malnourished and is qualified for the program. Green means that the child is normal. So the child has been on the program for quite a number of weeks now. So meaning that the child is recording some gains. Okay, so that is 13.5. So meaning that the child is okay now, it's normal.
One of the biggest challenges here is that many of these peasant farmers recycle seeds and have poor yields after replanting. At least this family is doing well, but Agnes has to face it all alone. She has not been captured under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. Simon Lawal, a nutrition officer at the Lambrisi District Health Office, says malnutrition is a real concern.
For those that we are able to manage at the district, that is the outpatient care, OPC cases, we have about 70 as of last month. So this month we have new fresh cases, 14. So making a total of 84 cases currently that we have. But in the district, one of our major causes of malnutrition have to do with adequate food intake. So basically the children are not getting enough or what they're supposed to get for their age or for their height at that particular time.
According to the Upper West Regional Health Directorate, in 2016, 76.3% of households in the Upper West region were food secure, 22.3% were on the borderline, while 1.4% were severely food insecure. So a total of 23.7% of households suffered from total food insecurity. Districts affected are Wa West, which is severely food insecure, with Japa and Wa East being on the borderline of becoming severely food insecure, and Lambrisi Kane as mildly food insecure. To bridge inequalities in food supplies, governments must provide food for poor families during the lean, dry seasons and also introduce peasant farmers to improve seeds and better farming methods to guarantee high yield. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.